Thank you, everyone. These are amazing talks. And thank you, Peter, for the introduction. In 1896, the French sociologist Émile Durkheim wrote that kinship is a social bond or it's nothing. Researchers who study the tremendous diversity of family forms around the world today still, by and large, find that statement to be true. We think that kinship is produced through social actions. Of course, in many parts of the world, blood ties are really important, but what that means is that people ascribe importance to a biological or genetic relationship. One of the ways people do that is through language. Language is thus generative of kinship. So particular kin terms, words like mother or cousin, or stepsister or godson, help to make a connection clear, audible, knowable to other people. During the time I'll be here this semester at Cogut Institute, I'll be analyzing a case study where kinship is being actively and deliberately produced ex nihilo. I'm working with an international NGO that provides what's called alternative care. UNICEF defines alternative care as support and rearing that's not provided by a child's, quote, own family. It's instead provided by some alternative to that. The NGO that I'm working with calls the kind of residential alternative care that they provide family-like. And by using that term, they're emphasizing, among other things, their commitment to affectionate, warm relationships as a critically valuable part of care provision. So already this idea of family-like care uses the word family to convey particular important qualities, behaviors, and actions. Another way that language use helps to produce kinship in this NGO is through the historic and persistent use of the kin term mother to describe the women who provide the children with trained professional care. For example, a press release by the Chilean office of the NGO describes the mothers as, quote, women who love, protect, guide, and educate boys and girls who didn't come from their wombs, but who represent for them the word motherhood in all its dimensions. The word mother in English is implicitly relational or reciprocal. By this, I mean that it's a kin term that implies a connection to another person, even without having that reciprocity built into the word itself. That is, a mother is the mother of her child. And this is certainly how many of the mothers working for the NGO think about the children that they've cared for over the years as meaningfully their children. So last year, when I visited one of the offices of this NGO in Latin America, one of the mothers shared that she had a son who had emigrated to Europe, a son who she had raised from infancy and even named. Because they are paid, because they are professionally trained, and because their children didn't, quote, come from their wombs, it might be tempting to represent these NGO mothers as what anthropologists used to call fictive kin. But there's a pretty convincing case to be made that it's not analytically useful to distinguish between kinship that's supposedly real and other kinship that is only fictional. That false distinction distracted from the way that all kinship is constituted through social action, including language. This case study that I'm working with, I believe, shows how, among other things, the very use of the kin term mother helps to make kinship and to make it real. Thank you.